Hello and welcome to this video, Canon 650D Advanced. In this video, we will look at some of the more advanced settings including exposure compensation, flash exposure compensation, white balance shift and bracket, autocorrect image brightness, built-in flash settings, and evaluative metering. Okay, to begin, it's worth noting that the camera is set in aperture priority mode to demonstrate exposure priority. Also, at some points during this video, we'll be using the selector wheel located at the top of the camera to move through the various options. Exposure compensation is your tool for adjusting the image so that it will be either under or overexposed by X amount of stops. When an image is underexposed, it is darker, and when the image is overexposed, it is brighter. Your exposure compensation can be changed using these plus and minus buttons located here. By using the selector wheel, you can allow the camera to take 3 shots, one above, one below, and one in the middle as indicated by the orange lines. When doing this, your images can be separated by 1 or 2 stops. Now we will put the camera back into manual and take a look at the flash exposure compensation. This is where you can set the flash to over or underexpose. Flash exposure compensation is used to compensate for the flash output when the flash is in auto or TTL mode. It can usually be set on the flash gun itself, but having the option on the camera means that you can set everything on the same device. One thing to note though is that if you use flash exposure compensation, it overrides the settings for the camera's exposure compensation, so bear that in mind when altering it. Below the flash exposure in the middle, we have white balance shift bracket or white balance exposure compensation. Highlight the white balance shift bracket option in your camera's shooting menu to reveal a grid. On this grid, B is blue, A is amber, M is magenta, and G is green. To shift the current white balance, move the marker around using the left, right, up, and down buttons here. To bracket, move the button on the left to bracket in a vertical towards green and magenta, or move the button on the right to bracket in a horizontal towards blue and amber. The camera will then take 3 shots at different white balances when you take a picture. To clear all shift and bracketing changes, simply press the dustbin icon and then select OK. Next to white balance exposure is autocorrect image brightness and contrast, which will give you the option to have a low, standard, or high amount of correction. This feature is quite useful for bringing out shadow detail in pictures, although pushing it too high can blow out the image, so you may wish to leave it turned off and correct in an editing program. Next to autocorrect brightness is your built-in flash settings. Every time you take a picture, the first curtain opens to start the exposure, and the second curtain closes to end the exposure. By default, it'll be set to first curtain sync, but to change it, press on the icon and then press Info Detail Set and change Shutter Sync to second curtain. To the right of normal flash firing is Easy Wireless Flash, which sets your built-in flash to fire your external flash when it's in slave mode. Next to that is Custom Wireless Flash, which is the same as Easy but gives you a few more options that you can change, for example, flash mode, channel, and flash exposure compensation. Finally, we're going to discuss evaluative metering. Knowing which mode to use and to take a meter reading will make a big difference to accuracy of the exposure in your images and help you to deal with different lighting situations. The 650D has a choice of average, which is ideal for most scenes, partial for bright backgrounds, spot for metering a small specific area, and center weighted metering modes, which obtains the average brightness from a central area. Right. That's the end of this video. Any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact a technical member of staff at the university. But for now, it's goodbye and happy shooting.